and welcome back to Rorys Workshop. Thank you very much for swinging on by. Today I'm going to be working on my 2 1/4 petrol engine for my Land Rover. Here she is. Shazam! I really like this engine and I think it's done really well. It's been overbuilt and it is standard. These are alright. These are okay, but they're not fantastic. This one, however, has been breathed on a little bit. Most of the parts that I've put into the engine you can't see, which is a crying shame. But I will put some photos up of what I've taken over the time that it's taken me to get to this stage. So what do we have? Most of the performance parts in this engine are from ACR, so Automotive Component Remanufacturing, up in North Wales. Hello to Sheila and Roland. Fantastic company, and thankfully I've been able to visit them whilst I've been up there with work. So what I have here is their 2019 Stage 2.2 head. This head was one of their very early Stage 2 heads, Stage 1 head. It's from the early 90s and it has a very low number stamped into the head to prove that it has been there, and they had worked on it many moons ago. So I thought it was only fitting to send it back to them for it to be reconditioned and to be brought up to the latest spec that they've got for performance and for their Power Plus range. So that's the head. It's been CNC ported, it has larger inlet and exhaust manifolds, and it has been gas flowed. I'm really looking forward to driving it with this head on and just get that a bit more torque and power. For the camshaft, we have their Power Plus camshaft. I've heard great things about it, but I've never been able to drive a car with the Power Plus. So I'm looking forward to see what difference that gives compared to standard. The 90 that I drive has always had a HS6 on it. It's always had the ACR HS6 inlet manifold, and in fact I've got one because I've got two. Please bear in mind this is this is the original one that was on the 90. I've got another one on there now. So here we have the HS6 carb, really good carb, and it is well suited to the engine. And obviously we have the ACR inlet manifold. This is the one that came with the 90 on this engine actually, and the one that I've got fitted at the moment is a different engine, and luckily, goodness knows how, it came with an ACR inlet manifold and an ACR carb, and I couldn't bloody believe my luck really. But that's all on there, that's fine. This carb is going to get sent off to Berlin Fuels. We're going to send this back to them. They're the SU specialists, and they're the only guys who I really want to be messing about with this. I've put obviously quite a lot of time and effort into this, and I want everything to be right. Yeah, that's about it really. That's the HS6 carb. And having driven quite a few Land Rovers with the Solex, the Weber, the Dandraft Weber, and then the twin choke Weber, and the SU. I like the SU, but I also like Andrews with the Weber on it because that's just such a nice engine. Anyway, back to this one. So I've talked about the head, we've spoken about the camshaft. What about the internals? All the rotating assembly has been balanced. I've had the crankshaft done. The machines have had it for ages. They've done the flywheel, they've done the crankshaft, they've balanced all the con rods. They've machined the block for the pistons because it's got custom pistons in it. I say custom pistons, it's got new pistons in it. And they've also balanced the front pulley for me. So hopefully, the aim of this is to eke out as much horsepower as I can using the old traditional methods. These days it seems to be too easy, and it sort of seems it, where you could just plug into a laptop, give the injectors a bit more, play with the timing. It just seems very much easy, and I quite like harking back to how things were and how old school technology can also help bring on the new stuff. So this engine is hopefully a mix of both really. So we've got all the old school machining techniques with all the rotating assembly, the camshaft and the head work, But the distributor I'm going to put in this is called a 123 distributor, and that is the most modern up-to-date distributor that you can get. You can program the distributor for the advanced curves and everything and suit it wholly to this engine in particular. And I'm really looking forward to trying that and seeing how we get on with that. I'm looking for quite a lot of horsepower. I say quite a lot. These standard are about 60 to 70 horsepower, and I'd like to get sort of I'd like to get over 115 out of it, but time will tell. There's obviously a couple of variables in that. But I want it to be reliable. I want to be able to jump in it, hit the key and go. Whether I'll be doing sort of barn or off-road events or just doing my own sort of thing, I want it to be turnkey and reliable. And that's partly why I've taken so long is to make sure that everything is correct. The pistons that are in this are ACR again. You'll notice a trend here. And they are forged aluminium pistons. We've bored out slightly, so it's now just under 2.5 litres, when originally this was a 2.25 engine. But this block is the original block from my car, and that's what I'm going to be doing. So today, I've ordered a new rocker assembly from ACR, and that got delivered this week. I'm now going to drop that in and get it built up as much as I can before, hopefully next week, the exhaust manifold will be here. And then it's probably about time for me to finish off the engine and throw it in. Unfortunately, I can't drop it in, then go straight to the wrong road. I have to do 600 miles bedding it in. Obviously, at the current climate, that is going to be quite difficult. So I'm probably going to leave it until hopefully the lockdown sort of ceases and we get to have a bit more free travel. But then I may have to go back to work. So, well, hopefully. So we'll have to wait and see. We'll play it by ear. As long as the engine's ready to go, then I'm happy. It's dry and out the way. It doesn't get wet. So it's quite happy to stay in the workshop, which is really nice. So yeah, let's chuck in the push rods next, and then the rocker assembly, and we'll go from there. Okay, so the rocker assembly is now on and successfully located in all the push rods. All the bolts are in. They're not obviously fully down, but we will get to them. But yeah, quite happy with it. I'll just run these down get them finger tight. All the other ones are finger tight, so there's no worries there. I've actually got the proper Land Rover workshop manual from way back when. So I'm going to be using that. It says to have the torque range setting between 91 and 113 Newton meters. So I'm going to set it up. What have I got set to at the moment? I'm going to set to 60 Newton meters at the moment. I'll run round once to make sure everything's all sitting down snug, and then I'll do the final torque, leave it for 10 minutes, and then I'll torque it up again, just to ensure everything's nice and tight. And then we'll look at, it's all timed up. I've timed it up already beforehand. So essentially it is just putting on the head and the rocker assembly. And then we're an awful lot closer than what we were before. Another great step. I've got, the other day I ordered a couple of distributors, as you've probably seen. I was going to send one back, but actually, the car's still running as bad as what it was before, so I'm going to get the car rebuilt. And then I might throw, I don't know, I might throw one of those new ones on. Or I might fit the AccuSpark back onto the 90 because it didn't make any difference. And then use the one that I've fitted to it, so I might send one back. We'll see. We will see. Here we go. Final round. So now I'm going to tighten down the rocker pedestals down to the correct torque setting, and then I'll turn over the engine. We'll do the valve lash whilst we're here, and that'll probably be about it for the rocker cover assembly. I've got some blanks for the camshaft. We've got the original ones there, just soaking to try and get rid of the gaskets. We'll clean them up, put new gaskets on. We have all the gaskets come from Baymax, so we'll put them on. And then probably not far off then. Don't think. We'll check the timing, make sure the timing's right on the cylinder and the rockers, but that'll be about it. Let's wind these down, shall we? Torque it down, 28 Newton miles. 5. There's a belt missing from there. Best find that because that's a water jacket. This pump isn't staying on. Don't worry about it because it's got the wrong casting in it. Well, this needs to be opened up. I've got a water pump for it anyway, so that's fine. Yeah, that's about it. We'll leave it for 10 minutes. We'll go right through and we'll talk everything again. It may be a bit overkill, but I'd rather be safe than sorry. So now they're all tightened down, I'm going to adjust the valves and make sure that the clearance between the rocker and the valves itself is correct. I've started at number 8 because that was the next one that came down. So number 8 is now fully open. I'll adjust. I'm sure you all know how to adjust valves. It's not the most difficult of tasks, but I just remember the rule of 9 really. If every especially on this engine, everything that you adjust, it needs to add up to 9. So if number 8 is down, you want to make it up to 9. So you got sorry, number 7 is down. I'm going to make it up to 9. So 7, 8. So this one is the one that's most free. So you set this one up, and then the next one that comes down, whatever it is. See if it was 5, you want it to be 9. So you would then check 4, and vice versa. You just keep it going. It is in the book, and it is written down, and it's probably in the Haynes manual, but I haven't got it open. I'm using the proper one today. So we'll just check the. I'm setting the lash to what the book recommends, and it is 1/4 mil. So you just see me set up all the backlash on the valves on the rocker shaft, and obviously I've just put in the new temperature sensor and what have you. So I think now what I'm going to do is I'll take all this off, I'll tidy it behind me, we'll grab out the covers for the camshaft and we'll chuck all them on. I might throw a dizzy in just to fill up the hole really and try and seal it up a bit. Obviously I've got new spark plugs, I've got leads and everything, that's no issue. But I think this afternoon, or after lunch because it's nearly lunchtime, I've got a blank or core plug to go in the back behind the camshaft. That came courtesy of Turner Engineering. Shout out to them, they've been pretty good. And then yeah, I'm going to double check about these 2 bolts in here. I can't remember what goes in here. It's the only thing when you take something apart, you do forget things. I know there's a bolt mast goes in here for the rocker cover, but I can't remember what goes in here. Also, the old or the used rocker shaft, I'm now going to send back to ACR so they can then recondition it and sell it on to somebody else. That is part of the deal, which isn't a problem at all because I know that it is quite a bit of work. And the reason I went for them to build it is because I want reliability built in, as I said earlier. I want it to be turnkey and ready to go, rather than me having to try and get all the parts first and then machine them all up, get them all machined up correctly. I'd rather it goes to somebody who knows what they're doing, and you get a great piece of kit back. So yeah, that's it. I'll tidy it for now, and I'll be back with you in a moment. Right, well, I just had some lunch, and now I'm going to check torque the head again, and I'll check torque the rocker assembly whilst I'm at it. I've spoken to Roland and Sheila, and I've ordered the exhaust manifold, so hopefully that'll be coming next week, maybe week after, which is good. And I'll tell you a little bit more about in a bit more depth about what ACR do for these engines and for the V8s. But obviously I'm going to particularly talk about these engines, as these engines are, as it turns out, quite rare in the 90s and in the 110s. Obviously a lot more common in the series stuff. But the things that are bolted into this engine, the rocker assembly, the head, and the camshaft, it is totally transferable across to the series engine, whether it be a 3-main bearing or a 5 like this. I have a couple of these engines, and I fully intend to make a 2.8 version of this engine just to see the difference, and I may supercharge that one as well, as I do have a Wade supercharger in the corner, but that will be in the future, way into the future, because I've got many other projects to do in the meantime. After I've done this one, after I've rebuilt this engine and thrown it in, got it all bedded down and what have you, the next major project will be the Overland, which I haven't shown you yet, but trust me, that should be worth it. Needs quite a bit of work, but we enjoy a challenge here. So yeah, so I'll set a time lapse up, we'll check torque the head again, and then I'll give you a bit more information about ACR and how fantastic they really are. And I really cannot emphasize enough how great they are and how much difference they can make to an engine such as these little 2 1/4s and 2 1/2s. Back in a moment. Okay, so I'm going to end this video here, but first I thought I'd show you some pictures of the pistons before they went into the engine. Sadly I don't have any video footage of it, but we will do the best that we can. So the first picture, you can see that it's a lovely, beautiful piece of billet aluminium machined out with the Teflon coating, and they are such a nice piece. It's such a shame that they're all in there. I weighed every single one of them, and all of them came in at 76.8 grams. And then you can see all 4, all nice and neatly together, and they're such a nice thing. I was staring at them for hours, I could tell you that much. Here they are, just before we threw them into the engine. Obviously everything's all made up. I did snap one of the piston rings. I'll add a picture in now, but we got there in the end. It was really nice to throw everything in, and as I say, everything that I get from ACR is outstanding. I've never had any problems with any of it, and I cannot recommend them highly enough. But I think we'll end that there. Thanks very much for watching. I do enjoy you all swinging by. Stay safe. See you later. Bye now.